Hi guys, Ramsey here, back for round two. I realized a couple things. I realized that I forgot to show you guys a couple bottles from the vintage haul yesterday. So I'm back to show you a couple of those. And while my nose is healing from my surgery, even though I'm not ready to do full reviews yet, I figured I would share my Creed collection with you. It's what I collected before I started getting into vintage. And so you'll see that a lot of these creeds I've had for a long time. When I first started collecting, I just assumed that the higher price tag meant better quality. And as a lot of people will know as they get into the fragrance game, that's not always the case. There's also a very interesting book that just came out called The Ghost Perfumer about Creed and his escapades of taking advantage of Pierre Bordon. I would highly recommend picking that up. It seems very interesting. I've read a couple snippets that have been sent to me. Thanks, Duck. Really enjoyed what I've read so far, but a couple vintage fragrances from the haul yesterday that did not get included. Number one is Wall Street. This was my bottle, Splash, previously. This fragrance smells a little bit like the bottle looks. It smells like old tobacco, leather. It smells like you would imagine Gordon Gekko's desk might smell like from the 80s. Just fantastic stuff. The House of Victor get almost no love, but this is a 80s banger. I love that fragrance. That's number one. Number two is a fragrance called Polo Crest. This is one that's been on my watch list for a long time. As you can see, it's a partial and it's a tester, and there's no cap. But like I said yesterday, when you're collecting vintage, sometimes you got to get what you can, and I know that Enchante stored this properly. So Polo Crest, very glad to have it. It's been on my watch list for a long time. I love Polo Green. This is supposed to be a lighter iteration. I would spray them for you. I have test strips that are ready to go, but I don't trust my nose yet after the surgery, so I'm just going to talk about everything real quick. So those are the two from yesterday that I forgot to include. Now, on to the creeds. So I'll show you the first one, and you'll notice I'm a little obsessive with these. So my Aventus collection, and I'll just tell you right out the gate, there's a 2015, 16, 17, and 14 bottle. I won't buy any creeds past 2017. That's my cutoff. I learned my lesson. I'll show you one that actually is a newer bottle style, but I refuse now to buy the new bottles because I just have a little bit left in that 2014 bottle. This is they put the batch code all over the place. This is the 2017. And then 15 and 16, or 15 and 16, I should say. But anyways, long story short is, as you can see, I hoarded this stuff. I actually like it. Unlike most people who are deep into the fragrance game, most people deep into fragrance hate Creed, hate Aventus. I actually really like it. But that's kind of where I stand out from the crowd as far as Aventus goes. So that's number one. Number two, Creed, another famous offering, Pierre Bordon again. This is Green Irish Tweed. You'll notice in the 120 milliliter bottle, all blacked out. I think the old 75 ml bottles were clear. But this is what pretty much put Creed on the map in 1985, I believe it was. It's got that ozonic violet iris powdery type feel. I love this fragrance, and I wear it basically March, April, and May is when I designate to wear this if I get a chance and I feel like wearing a Creed. Number three Creed is Royal Water. And by the way, this is not in order. This is just, I picked up the fragrances. I'm going to show them to you. You'll notice again, 120 ml bottle. This is the older presentation that you can't get it in anymore. This is a perfect summer fragrance. 1997. The interesting thing about this is how it mixes citruses, mints, juniper berries, basil, And then it's got that Creed ambergris in the base, back when I think they used to actually still use real ambergris, or at least they used to put more money into the materials to make you think they used real ambergris. But this lasts and lasts for a citrus fragrance. Probably one of my favorite citrus fragrances, highly under the radar. That's Royal Water from Creed. All these are going to be from Creed, but of course I can't help myself. I'll say that probably over and over again. Next on the list is a fragrance that I'm only keeping around to teach myself a lesson. It is Millésime Imperial. This is probably one of the only fragrances that I ever bought that turned on me. This is an early 2000s bottle. As you can see, it's not a new one. This is a 75 ml, all golded out, which they don't make like this any longer. But this one actually went bad. It's terrible. Even with my nose stopped up, I can tell that this is turned on me. But I keep it around just to remind myself that I have to be careful with what I buy. Probably once I get another bottle, I'll end up chunking this. But it is a beautiful presentation. They don't make the gold 75 mLs any longer, obviously, but the juice inside is bad. Next is Creed's take on a tobacco fragrance, and it's Tabarome Millésime. Now, there was what was called a vintage Tabarome that came out in 2010. Imagine Creed did a tobacco fragrance and used that fresh Creed DNA that they're known for. This is basically tangerine, ginger, tobacco, and tobacco in the base. But it's not your normal tobacco fragrance because it's light and airy. I still probably wear this when it's cooler. This is a 75 ml. And it's a 2013 batch. But another fragrance, I'll never get this holding it at the camera right, will I? It's a 2013 batch. So anyways, Tabarome Millésime is the next one on the list. So the next Creed we're going to look at in my collection is Original Santal. And this came up in the book a little bit. Because this is very similar to Mont Blanc Individuel, and it's also similar to Yop Homme, which I have a vintage bottle of Yop Homme, and it is actually the depth in that Lancaster bottle of Yop Homme is it just blows out of the water, the modern formulation. But anyways, long story short, this one you have to like sweet fragrances to like. It's got a lot of vanilla, a lot of cinnamon. I still hate looking at Fragrantica and seeing Olivier and Erwin Creed as the perfumer, but they should change that pretty soon. But it's basically a sweet sandalwood cinnamon fragrance, but it doesn't smell like real sandalwood. It it smells very synthetic, but for cold days, I will rock this sometime. This is a 2016 bottle. Basically, if you can get 2016 bottles or before on Creed, you're probably going to get better quality. The older, the better. Just stick with that. And by the way, I know I said this in my first video, but if you are just tuning into this one, you didn't get a chance to watch the first one. All these I bought with my own money. Nothing has ever been donated or given to me by any brand. These are just fragrances that I bought, and the reason that I started here was because I saw the high price tag, and probably like a lot of people was fooled into thinking that, oh, high price equals better fragrance, which is not always the case. Next, these little gray caps, by the way, these are when Creed made EDTs. All Creed's fragrances now are EDPs. These are the discontinued EDTs. This is Acer Aluminum, and this is actually a really interesting fragrance. I like this one a lot. It's probably a winter fragrance. As you can see, the dent that I put in this. My wife says it smells like potpourri. but I don't think so at all. It just has a lot of spices, amber, Creed's vintage ambergris, you could say, but it also has this strange fruity vibe. Some say it's a banana note. I could see it from time to time, but to be quite frank, it just smells like Creed's take on masculine Shalimar, which I actually have a fragrance I'm going to show you later that I think is Creed's take on a woman's version of Shalimar with vanilla and amber. But this is a little bit more masculine. Bergamot in the top, the usual Creed stuff. Bergamot in the top, ambergris in the base. But this is one I wouldn't pay crazy money for it. But if you hate every Creed you've ever tried, and you want to give the brand a shot to see what all the fuss was about in the old days, try this. Try Acer Aluminum. It is not anything like you would expect a Creed to put out. Okay, next. I'm not even going to try to count because I've already lost count. Next is Original Vetiver. And this is Creed's take on Mugler Cologne. I've tried them both. I like this more, whether it's marketing or whatever the reason is. It just does it for me. I love wearing this in this summer, in the heat. I think this is a great hot weather fragrance. It's not a dirty vetiver. It's a clean vetiver to me. Creed claims to use all 3 parts of the vetiver plant. Who knows? But it does have that ginger vetiver iris feel to it. And then it's got, of course, Creed's vintage classic ambergris in the base. What they say. Probably there's no real ambergris in this, but I love this fragrance for the heat. It really shines. Next is an exclusive. As you can see, I've got a little bit of an addiction problem with buying fragrances. Next is Millésime 1849. We can get it to focus. There we go. Hide my face. Millésime 1849. This is a Harrods exclusive. It has oud in it. That's its claim to fame. This is a 2015 bottle, but this is my second bottle, actually. I wore an entire bottle of this. It is powdery. It has this yellow floral feel to it because it has Lang Lang jasmine. It says it has oud in the base. Who knows? It just feels like a powdery vanilla sandalwood type fragrance to me. I think it's completely unisex. I used to rock it all the time. And is it worth the $400 Creed was asking for 75 ml? No. But I probably have, I would say, 3/4 of a bottle left, so I'm glad to have it. But this one is, I think, long discontinued and getting harder and harder to find unless you're just a Creed collector. Don't knock yourself out trying to find this one. Next is one that I actually got off of Acier from Base Notes. You've heard me say that name before. If you're looking for harder to find fragrances or, you know, partials or decants, check him out on Base Notes. He has probably the highest rating I've ever seen on Base Notes of any member. This is Spice and Wood. And I haven't had a chance to give this a full wear yet. I did spray it. And for once, I actually agree with the Fragrantica members who say it is pretty close to French Lover from Frederic Malle, which also is a Pierre Bordon creation. Hint, hint. So Spice and Wood, I think it probably one of their better masculine type releases since Aventus. I happy to have a little bit of this. I didn't pay crazy money. I just wanted to get a chance to experience it. As you can see, it's this is a big bottle, by the way. So even though it looks like there's just a hair in there for someone with a collection my size, that's a lot of juice. Next, Royal Mayfair. This is the one that smells like eucalyptus. This is the one with the strange eucalyptus and pine and gin mixture. It's got that fuzzy It's got that fuzzy sticker there on the front. It was originally released as Windsor. I should have grabbed it. I have a decant of the original Windsor, and if you compare the two, I won't get up and get it even though it's right there. But if you compare the two, I will tell you that the juice from the original release of Windsor is darker, much darker. It feels like it was aged, like Royal Mayfair versus Windsor. Windsor feels like they took Royal Mayfair and stuck it in an oak barrel and aged it for 50 years and then gave it to us. It just feels deeper, richer. Royal Mayfair is still a great fragrance. This has a real air of class to it, sophistication. If Creed gets a lot of crap for not being niche, for charging niche prices but not being niche, this also has probably one of my favorite masculine rose notes ever in perfumery. It's not my favorite rose fragrance, but it might be my favorite masculine rose note. Bold statement, I know, but this is a fragrance that I actually really love. I will also usually wear it in the spring, but it's very posh. If you wear this with shorts and t-shirt or lounge around the house pants, you're probably going to be out of place. But interesting fragrance if you want to give something a little out of left field a try. Give this one a try. Royal Mayfair. Next is the only bottle that I have that's not a vintage. It is not a vintage presentation. This is Silver Mountain water. I'm sorry, this is Himalaya. This is Himalaya. And I confused the two, obviously. I don't have Silver Mountain anymore because I used it all. But if you watch Duck's Haul video, you'll notice he got a vintage of this. I'm very jealous of that because I used to own a 120 ml of this, used it all. This is a shadow of what that was. I hate to say it, but it really is. The sandalwood is just not what it was. It doesn't last as long, but at the same token, I enjoy wearing this. I'll also usually wear this in the summer. Most Creeds you can probably wear in the summer, but it's got musk, ambergris, and then it's supposed to have that sandalwood note. It does have a nice sandalwood note, just doesn't last as long, doesn't feel as thick as the older formulation. Next, so we're not here for an hour, trying to go through these pretty quickly. This is an under the radar one. Zesty Mandarin Pampelmousse. That's right, you heard that correctly. Zesty Mandarin Pampelmousse. Can you guys even see that? For you French speakers, you'll know what Pampelmousse is. It is grapefruit, if I'm not mistaken. So this is basically a grapefruit and honeysuckle fragrance with Creed's ambergris. I will wear this in the summer, and I will douse myself with it, and it's beautiful for an hour or two, and then it's gone. Then I'll douse myself again, and this is probably, I don't know, 10 wearings, and there you go. There's the dent, because I'll just douse myself with this stuff. I think it would smell beautiful on a lady, but an old, reminds me of kind of an older French gentleman, someone once said on Fragrantica or Base Notes or something. And I said, man, that really fits. Zesty Mandarin Pampelmousse. As you can see, I was trying to collect them all. Next, this is one I enjoy wearing during summer as well. EROLFA. And it is probably the cousin of Millésime Imperial. EROLFA is very similar to Millésime Imperial. It has that melon type feel to it. It has that salty air vibe, but it adds this weird herbal pine note to it. So it adds this floral pine that you don't get in Millésime Imperial. To be quite honest, I think I prefer EROLFA more. People don't talk about it as much. This is supposedly Jay-Z's signature scent. This is probably more my style. I think I enjoy it more. Well, this bottle's bad anyways, but I had a bottle before this that I wore and used up. and you know, the old fire spray with the emblem on the top. I mean, Creed just really fell off to me. They used to be so much more detail oriented, but EROLFA is a if you can find this presentation, it's worth it. Otherwise, don't bother. Okay, next is a newer addition. And when I got this, I expected something heavier. I expected a heavy leather fragrance. It's not. I won't be able to show you the sticker because the sticker fell off. It doesn't say it anywhere, but trust me, it's Royal English leather. This is one of the most comical press write-ups you'll find from Creed, because they claim that this was created in 1781 for King Henry, or God knows, King Henry III, right before he got his head chopped off, or who knows what the crazy type-up was. King George III. Sorry, I don't know my English history. But supposedly he enjoyed scenting his leather gloves with this scent. I mean, I guess if you'll buy that, I got a bridge to sell you. But I expected a heavy leather. It's not my favorite leather. I'll do a video of my favorite leathers one day, which would include Bellamy and Pure Distance M and Fetish and, you know, Antaeus and Leonard and Van Cleef and Arpels, Porome, stuff like that is what I really enjoy. This is just, it's almost like they wanted to make a leather, but they just could not help themselves, and they had to make it with that bright Creed DNA, that sparkling bright. If you've ever smelled Green Valley, vintage Green Valley, you know what I'm talking about. It has that ambergris, bergamot, mandarin, bright sparkle. I could wear this in summer, even though it's a leather. This could be a signature scent. I was hoping for a dark Creed. If you want a darker Creed, go with that Acer Aluminum I told you about. That's a much darker, heavier Creed, and I've got another dark, heavier Creed coming up. Next. What is next? So we're going to move on to the flacons. This is Royal Oud. And as you can see, I don't have very much left. I've almost gone through a 250 ml flacon. So, because I am OCD obsessive, I bought the 500 ml flacon of Creed Royal Oud. And I was lucky enough, this is a 2016 L01. This is 2016 A01. So they're both 2016 batches. Don't buy the modern stuff. It's just, if I was in England, I'd say it's shite. I just don't know any other way to say it. The Creed is really skimped on their quality of ingredients, in my estimation. I am not an expert by any stretch of the imagination. Don't sue me, Creed. Just my 2 cents. But this is one I never want to be without. This is one of my favorite Creed fragrances of all time. Up there with the other heavy hitters that I love so much. A lot of these I could probably take it or leave it as my nose has matured, but this is probably one of the best fragrances they've ever come out with, in my opinion. A lot of good memories wearing this stuff. I bought a bottle when it originally came out in 2011 or 12, whatever it was. And this is right up my alley. It's also signature scent worthy, but a lot of people compare this to French Lover as well, which is kind of interesting because it does have that galbanum, angelica feel that French Lover has, but this is mostly cedar. There's no oud in this. One day I'll show you my Bortnikoffs or other, you know, Dusita oud infinis, but this is not oud. This is very westernized oud. It is mass appealing. I don't think you'll ever offend anyone with this, but as you can see, I'm a fan of the Royal Oud. Next, second to last, is another 500 ml bottle. I used up a 100 ml bottle, and I ended up having to buy the 500 ml flacon. This is Viking. And this fragrance gets a ton of flack, a ton of heat on the internet. Everyone just absolutely decimated this fragrance when it first came out. They just gave it all over. I mean, just all over it. Anything you can think of, they said about how terrible this fragrance was. What they said about this fragrance when it first came out is how I feel about Viking cologne, actually. I hate Viking cologne. I think it's absolutely god-awful. This, I don't hate so much, because if you like the vintages like I do, if you like Azaroporome, if you like those kind of older, Old Spice is what this is always compared to. Azaroporome is what I get sometimes, but it has this rose note in the middle, very similar to, you know, Aventus used to sneak a rose in there. Royal Mayfair sneaks this little rose in there that I absolutely said I love. This one also has that rose, but it feels like this, like you're floating on this. You have to put up with the spicy mint and pink pepper, you know, opening in the beginning, but the dry down, it actually feels like you're smelling real ambergris, at least in the original release. This is a 2017. If I drop this on my head, I'll probably kill myself. This is a 2017 bottle when it first came out. This was the first release of the flacons. I think it's been reformulated, as with all creeds, go with the older ones, but if trust your nose, don't trust Fragcom all the time. This is one that I will say I absolutely love wearing. One of my favorite masculine creeds to wear. And now I want to show you the find of the year for me. I say this, I don't say this lightly. This is the find of the year. I sent this to Rich Mitch. He has a sample coming. This is a feminine targeted fragrance. For all you gentlemen who are worried about wearing feminine targeted fragrances, from 1987, called Venezia. Let's see, can you see it? Venezia. And this is basically Creed's take on Shalimar. This is Creed's take. This is, I could wear Shalimar, this, or Le Lion, and get exactly the same amount of satisfaction out of it. In fact, this is my favorite discovery this year. I got an absolute steal on this flacon, by the way, or else I probably wouldn't have bought it and experienced how great it was. I paid less than a lot of the regular, just 75 ml bottles are going for, and I was worried it was fake, and as soon as I smelled it, I said, oh my God, that's what Creed used to be. The quality of the ingredients in Venezia. It's an amber fragrance, by the way. Amber, vanilla, ambergris, rose, jasmine, bergamot in the top. Very simple construction, but, you know, I store my fragrances, some of them, in a safe, because what else is there to protect but your fragrances? And when I open the safe, I smell this. I smell this above all the other fragrances in there. This is an absolute marvel. I'm shocked no one talks about it. Well, the backstory is also just as funny as Royal English Leather. This was supposedly made for the great niece of Marie Antoinette, the Spanish queen. It's ridiculous. But the fragrance, some of the reviewers like Persolays claim they hate Creed. They've never smelled a good Creed. This is what I would send Persolays if I said, hey, I want to send you a Creed that I think you will like. So we're at the 29-minute mark. If you've stuck around this long, I really do appreciate you watching video number 2. I hope you've enjoyed seeing my obsessive Creed collection that I'll probably never wear in my lifetime, but I'm glad to have it all. And if you have any questions, I'm starting to learn how to answer comments. So thank you so much again for watching, and we'll see you again soon.